Hello, hello, everyone. This is Aaron Roy with Teachable. Welcome to our Discover Workshop. We're going to get started in just a few moments with Michael Schmitz. I want to make sure, for those who haven't been with us before, the first 2-3 minutes, we're just going to do a few technical housekeeping things, make sure folks can see us, they could hear us before I hand it over to Michael. I see folks already in the comments, which is awesome. That we love seeing an audience before we even get started. For those that are with us, can you say hello, let us know where you're joining us from. Let us know you could see us, you could hear us. Also, it's cool to see, have you seen Michael before? And if you might, maybe this is new for you today and you're watching it for the first time. It's not my first time, so I'm excited to watch this workshop again. This is always one of my favorite hours, and I learned a ton in this process. You hear us, that's good, that's good. Michael, can you also tech test? Say a few words before I hand it to you.
Yeah, I can also say willkommen, yeah, welcome. Don't worry, I won't speak much German today, but I will show you how you actually will be able to speak fluent German one day. And I hope you will enjoy this hour. And I hope you can clearly understand me.
Nice. Well, and so for everyone who's joining us, because I know folks trickle into these, especially it's a Friday, and I know we have an international audience today. Oh, we have a Smarter German student in the audience. Very, very cool. Thank you for joining us. Today's workshop with Michael is how to learn German fast. And during this workshop today, Michael's going to cover a lot of ground. If you have any questions, and this is your first time joining us, use this chat as the place to put those questions. We will leave time at the end. Michael has built time in to go through some of those questions, so they'll be there for that. Also, if you're joining us late or something happens and you have to go somewhere else, don't worry, there will be a replay available. We know that's a commonly asked question, and especially if you want to rewatch something that Michael says, don't feel bad. There's a replay. This is on YouTube. We'll make it available on Teachable Discover after as well. With that, Michael, I'm going to bring your presentation actually up on screen, and I think we can get started. And obviously, with folks, for those who don't know you today, I think they're excited to hear your background as well.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. And I'll introduce myself on the second slide or third one. So
I'm going to pop backstage. You need anything, like I said.
Good. So let me start this. Welcome, everyone, again. It's nice to see so many people here interested in learning German. And the topic today is, of course, schneller bitte. So to please faster, how to learn German faster. A couple of principles and ideas that I have actually, come across in the last 20 years of teaching the language, but I also have been learning several languages over the last 30 years, only two to an extent that I feel confident having a normal conversation, and the others I basically understand. So today we have erstens, zweitens, drittens. First, we start with the presentation. Should be around 40 minutes. I try to keep it shorter, but I think it's pretty accurate. Then I make a special offer. So stay tuned. And at the end, you can ask questions. Yeah, and I hope we have a bit more time for the questions, but this will not be the last time we'll meet, so you can ask questions through any other channel as well. Let me talk about obstacles in German learning, or language learning in general, but my specialty is German learning. And that will be the first part of the presentation. This is actually the overview of the topics. And of course, we talk about the solutions to the obstacles. Then we talk about how to gain speed, how to really speed up your language learning, and you will be surprised how easy it is. I'll leave a few words about fluency. Yeah, there are many misconceptions about what it is and how to achieve it. So hope you stay until then. And last but not least, the most important factor, that's motivation. It's also very vulnerable factor, because motivation can crash in an instant. Yeah, and then it's very hard to actually build it up again. Few words about me, not too many. You could see me as a language hacker, because this is what I did over the last 13 years, or actually longer. But professionally, I've been doing this for 7 years, since the existence of Smarter German. And that means I analyzed the grammar and the learning process, and I went into as much detail as I could and put it back together in a way that it is easier to comprehend and to acquire for other people. I'm a German tutor by trade. I actually studied being a German tutor at university for many years, and have been actively teaching one-on-one until 2 years ago. And then I focused on optimizing my online courses because they actually are created in order to replace German tutors, the need for German tutors. I also am the father of a bilingual kid, 19 years old by now. He's actually trilingual. He speaks English, German, and Polish. His mother is Polish. And that was also a very interesting, let's call it experiment. Yeah, so it was not lovely seeing him grow up with these languages. Of course, there were also other joys and sorrows, but language-wise, that was such a beautiful experience. And I'm an absolute psychology nerd. That doesn't mean I can recite Freud, but I love to look into people's minds and to see where the mind got lost again, and then maybe reach out to help them find their way back. Yeah, but I'm not a therapist. I'm really just deeply interested in how we learn and what drives us, not only related to languages. Now let's look at obstacles. And basically I will look at the number one obstacle because there's enough to talk about and we have limited time. The number one obstacle in language learning is bad methods. Nothing is more important than the method, the approach that you take in order to achieve your goal. The worst approach or method ever is teaching people using only German. That's a so-called monolingual approach, and it is an absolute misunderstanding of how language learning works. There's many issues with that I will address just a little bit as we go. Let's take a look. Group lessons is the next horrible approach. I see the reasons why people want to learn in a group and also why schools like group lessons. And let me give away a big secret. Schools like it because you can make easy money with putting as many people as possible into a group. Students like it because there's other people around and one doesn't feel so lonely on the path. But it really, really comes with a lot of disadvantages and therefore should be a thing of the past. Another bad method is to actually insist on having a physical classroom as well, especially in today's times. You might pay with your health, if not your life, but let's not go down the scary path. There are so many problems with that. You're wasting actually a lot of time by having to be at a specific place at a specific time. It's just not up to date anymore. That's an outdated thing from the very, very past. So these three methods are actually the cause of a lot of pain, frustration, and slow German learning. And just a couple of more words, these cause insecurity. If I only spoke German to you now, you wouldn't understand much. Otherwise, why would you be here? And if you don't understand, what happens is you have doubt, you feel insecure. And this is exactly what you want to avoid as a teacher as well as a student. It's a waste of time. You have to travel somewhere. You have to also maybe wait for slower learners. Sometimes you also have to run after faster ones. It's simply not efficient. It's very inflexible, as I said, fixed time, fixed place. And the quality is very questionable because you sit in a classroom with 10 people, maybe 20 people, and you listen to a lot of faulty German. And the only native speaker in the room actually doesn't really speak that much. And if she speaks, she possibly says something about grammar and uses vocabulary that you don't really need. Now, what are the solutions? And by the way, if you take a look at Lösungen, the first three letters give away the meaning, kind of. Lösen means to loosen, to make something loose. So Lösungen are, of course, solutions. So if you solve something in German, that means you loosen something that has been tied up. It's a beautiful wordplay. And I also explain things this way in my courses, by the way, because it's so beautiful to see the connections between the two languages. So what are good methods? And what I just showed to you is that I explain and relate things to the English language and explain things in English, because you shall understand everything that I explain. No doubt, no, how did I say that? Insecurities. Yeah, what I explain needs to be crystal clear. But then you, of course, practice using the German language. Practice needs to be in German. Absolutely no disagreement here, but explanations never ever in the language that you do not understand yet. And it's not just my opinion and experience, it's also a scientifically proven fact. We live in the 21st century. Yeah, we all have a mobile phone and maybe even a computer if you're lucky. Lessons need to be individual. Yeah, putting people into groups, that's maybe still good for military and maybe football games for the atmosphere, but you don't need that anymore. It's very clear that individual learning is the future, no doubt about it. And yeah, no further words. Excuse me, this is an oversight of mine. I activated it. No distractions, by the way. That's the only downside of learning online. You really have to make sure that this doesn't go through. But WhatsApp ignores my do not disturb message. A proper online course. Yeah, what do I mean by proper? So I've seen in these days, I've seen many schools putting even a camera into a classroom, having a teacher writing things on a blackboard with chalk, whatever you pronounce that. And I just couldn't believe that they sold that as online classes. Yeah, this is not online teaching. I have no good analogy for that, but please, this is not how it should be done. You need an online course that actually understands how learning works and how learning with a computer or mobile phone works. It's not how they did it. But please don't. Now, speed. Let's talk about speed, not the drug, please. Yeah, don't take drugs. Ironically, if you want to speed up your German learning or language learning, you should consider slowing down. Many people rush through things because they have a deadline. Oh, by then and then I have to apply to university or I have to do this or that. And what happens then is that you will have many gaps, among others. The depth of processing, of understanding will be rather shallow, and therefore also you will not remember everything. So slowing down and really digest what you take in, like a good meal. Yeah, you don't want to have fast food. You want to have a good meal that is tasty, and the German language is the best meal you can get. So why gorge it down? Take your time. As a beginner, and you might have experienced that, you are exposed to an abundance of information. And while that is gorgeous, it's nice to have so much information, it is overwhelming. Yeah, I've seen this and I see this again and again. Even with my approach, sometimes people get overwhelmed because they miss an information. Yet I'm here in the background. I always support everyone and just help them to focus on what matters. You really have to reduce information in the beginning. It will all come to you. It will all unfold, but it doesn't have to come down on you all at once, especially not in the beginning, but also not later. And especially for beginners, but also for advanced learners, because advanced learners have a risk to get bored quickly if they have to do things again that they already know by heart. You need a proper structure. If the German course you are in or you're taking doesn't provide an intelligent structure, then try to find something better. Yeah, if you're learning German, you're in the right place. Smarter German provides exactly that. Use proper tools. Like I said, putting a camera in a room and writing with chalk on a blackboard, that is not a proper tool. A proper tool is a computer, and then it's a software designed to solve a problem that German learners encounter. For example, for vocabulary, you would use a vocabulary app. And currently, we still use Memrise, but we will soon have our own tool that is very tailored towards the content of my course, just to give you an example. The most important thing, comprehensible input. So what that means simply is you need to understand what you're dealing with. And that's why explanations need to be in English. And also the text you're working with, there needs to be a way to look up what that means. I could speak 24/7 Chinese to you if I could speak Chinese, and you wouldn't learn a word if you had no translation, yeah, or explanation of some sort. Some teachers try to show you what things mean, yeah. But then let me tell you, okay, you can say, I don't even know what that is. iPod Behälter. Horrible, yeah. So I would rather put this into a context of a story and then show you how this word is constructed, which makes it a lot more easy to understand. So show and tell is cute in the beginning, and you wouldn't believe that there are companies that charge really $80 an hour who still do show and tell with adult beings. It's unnecessary. Maybe with kids, that's okay. You need comprehensible input. If you do not understand what's going on, you cannot really learn. There is some sort of learning happening, but not the kind that you're actually looking for. Now, what is fluency? Well, yeah, many people think, and of course, there's some truth to it, that they actually should be able to think in German. What they mean by thinking usually is an inner monologue. They talk, oh, Michael, what have I done today? Oh, yeah, maybe I should go jogging today. So this is what we do in our heads. We talk to ourselves. Whether that is thinking, that's another question, but let's assume that's what it is here. Then others think, okay, speaking without thinking, like I do in English now. I'm not really thinking about, okay, do I use ing or to, or how do I do this? I'm not thinking before I say anything in English. And of course, that's fluency. Yeah, I'm fluent in English, no doubt about it. Although ask me something about quantum physics and you will quickly see the fluency coming to an end, at least in certain areas. Others think that fluency means speaking without making mistakes. And that puts a lot of pressure on them, by the way. Or that they should be able to do everything they do in their native language also in German. And yes, of course, once you are able to do any of these, you are fluent. But let's be a little bit more careful, humble. Yeah, because these here, especially if you're a beginner, these are things that are so far in the future for you. They are B2, C1 level. And what that means time-wise, I will show you near the end of this presentation. So, what fluency for a beginner for a very long time, for at least 6 to 12 months, if not longer, is that it is a process. Yeah, nobody is born fluent, even German children not. So you are on a path. Very simple. And if you are aware of that, that takes a lot of pressure off your chest. And on that path, there are lots of pebbles and thorns, and these are the mistakes. You need to make mistakes. There is no way around it, and you will make mistakes. And if you are a native speaker in English, you will find mistakes in what I say. Not that I care that much, because you will understand me, but mistakes are just part of the learning process. And even you can be fluent even with mistakes. One of the most important insights over the last years, especially when I started my online courses, is that many people actually struggle with their minds more than they struggle with their tongue, with speaking. So my advice is exactly that. Learn to master your mind, or actually get to know your mind. And that doesn't, you don't have to do psychoanalysis for 5 years like I did, although it's a beautiful experience for some people. But just observe. Who's worried? Yeah, what's happening? Why am I upset? Why am I frustrated? And once you look into that, it's a beautiful journey. And the speaking part, that's something my course takes care of. It will prepare you for the real thing. And that comes if you just learn to stay on track. And I recently came across a beautiful quote, which is a little bit turned around. Das Ziel ist im Weg. That means the goal is in the way. Yeah, usually they say the path is the goal, but here they put this in another way, and I absolutely love that. So sometimes we imagine, oh, I wish I was already fluent and could study in German, or I could speak with my mother-in-law for whatever reason in German. And but that's still maybe 1.5 or 2 years away. And then this goal just is the cause for frustration. So maybe you learn to master your mind and to be more in the moment. And that's also what I support you with in my course. I'm always there in the background. You don't have a private tutor with me, but trust me, I'm there if you need me. Yeah. So how do I approach fluency? Just a couple of guidelines to just keep in mind. And again, if you work with Smarter German, I always remind you. You cannot force fluency. You can put in a lot of effort, but your brain will still need physical time, whatever that might be, to create physical connections. Your muscles in your mouth need to be retrained, yeah? Because, if, for example, if you are a French native speaker, you possibly struggle with the ash, yeah? Some people struggle with the ich, yeah? Very often it's ich or ich. And that's perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with that. And I can still understand you whether you say ich or ich. Yeah. But it takes time. You can't force becoming fluent. So don't try. One of my philosophies is input first, output last. So many approaches and people say you need to speak from lesson 1 onwards. I find that quite a fatal approach. It's only to a certain extent there's some truth in it, because you also will speak from the first lesson in my course, but it needs to be guided, structured, and there needs to be immediate feedback. And that's exactly what the tools I use or you use with my courses will provide you with. Yeah, very important. And don't expect to have a free conversation anytime soon. That requires preparation. Yeah. Very few geniuses can do that on the fly. And very obvious, and people sometimes don't want to hear that, it just requires practice. Practice, 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 practice. Nothing wrong with practice, because you know what you practice for. And if the practice is actually done in an interesting, maybe entertaining way, or a successful way, nothing wrong with practice. Yeah, there's people investing hours in getting a six-pack, which, yeah, for whatever reason they think they need. It takes so much effort, but they do that because they like the results. And with German learning, you actually have something, you acquire something that will stay with you for the rest of your life, unless something bad happens. But let's not talk about that. Intelligent feedback I talked about. You need feedback that enables you to learn. Very often people get feedback from their partners or friends where they just are corrected. No, you have to say like this. Yeah, even if they do that in a friendly way, what they do is they put themselves over you, at least theoretically, that feels like this. And it feels like they give away the answer. It's like you watch a criminal story, you watch a movie with a twist, and they give away the twist. And intelligent feedback doesn't do that. It allows you to experience the twist and to find the mistake yourself and learn from that. Yeah. And again, while there are exceptions and there are people who, assuming they put enough effort into it, could get to a very decent fluency level within 6 months, why not assume it takes you 1 to 2 years? It's better to assume that. It's also a realistic time span for most people. And then to overperform and say, oh, I did it in 6 months, maybe in 3 months. Yeah. But then the other way around, because nothing feels more frustrating than having a goal that's very tight and failing again and again. Psychology is very important. And speaking of which, how to stay motivated. Motivation, initially the motivation is strong, or new language, and then new words, and oh yeah, that makes sense. And there's so many things you actually realize in the beginning, because sometimes you work with a course that makes things easy right away, or you see a relation between a German and an English word, and that's beautiful. So you need to work with interesting materials, yeah, because the honeymoon will be over at one point, trust me. If not, then you're an exception, and beautiful to witness that. But for many people, the honeymoon is over after latest 6 months, but for some even earlier. Depends also on the setting, how you learn. Comprehensible input, cannot even say that word. So understandable input is very important, because if you don't understand, nothing is more frustrating than being exposed to stuff you don't understand. But it does mean you have to understand every single word you come across, because that would also kill your motivation very quickly. That's so-called perfectionism. This is not what I mean by this. There needs to be some comprehensible input, sufficient comprehensible input. Yeah, not completely comprehensible input, because real life is also not completely comprehensible, trust me. Yeah. So very important. You need to experience real success. And real success is not that you get a couple of bling blings and a couple of experience points, or your little flying animal climbs up a ladder or whatever. These are cute and that's nice. Nothing wrong with exterior motivation. The strongest motivation, or food for motivation, is actually real success. You see something, you understand something, you take an exam or a task and you just nail it, or you have a tiny conversation, even though it didn't go too well, you still made it, and you just feel amazing. And these kind of experiences, they need to be part of your learning. Yeah, otherwise maybe there is something that you need to take a look at. Intelligent feedback, we talked about that. Nothing worse than being told what's right or wrong. And learning in this time needs to be on your own terms. Why would you want others to tell you where to be and when to be and what to do? Why not? Yeah, I understand that there needs to be some path, some guidance, but if you like to learn at 3 at night, why not do it? Yeah, or you have like half an hour here spontaneously. Why shouldn't you be able to do some German learning? You can even do it in a bus on a mobile phone nowadays. Very important. Yeah, nothing more frustrating than having to wait for someone maybe also to tell me what to do or to respond to questions. Yeah, with Smarter German, you have a platform where you actually can search for German-related questions or course-related questions, and you don't even have to wait for me to respond. But I will always respond within a day, latest, usually twice a day. But you don't need me with Smarter German. That's the beautiful thing. One of the most important motivators is accountability. So that's why I'm still here. I also have weekly meetings with my students where they can just say hello, just be there and say, tell me what they like and what they struggle with, ask questions. It's good to be accountable, saying, hey, Michael, I'm suffering here, I'm struggling. Or, hey, this just worked out last week. I want to share this with other people. Community, beautiful thing. Yeah, and I'm constantly trying to evolve this even more. And I myself enjoy actually the contact with everyone. Now we are at the end of the main part of the presentation, and now I want to make you an offer, but I will also show you how long it takes to become fluent normally, what the German learning approach looks like if you follow a common approach, like going to a language school. I'm not talking about online tools, because they are usually not up to that quality. Smarter German is. Yeah, Smarter German is comparable to a language course at a language school. Absolutely no difference. They're at least as good as any other language class out there. If you ask me, we are even better, but it's fine. I'm happy with being considered the same quality. So how long does it take to get from A1 to B1, and what does it cost? First of all, you need 360 hours of lessons. That number might vary a couple of hours depending on the approach in the school, but that's the average if you join, let's say, an intensive course at a school here in Berlin. And assuming that it takes you just half an hour to travel to school and half an hour back, over the 6 months that this takes, actually, it takes you 120 hours. Then they expect you to do homework. And that also takes you 1.5 hours a day, 5 times a week. So you end with, what is that, 660 hours for A1 to B1. And usually that's distributed over a period of 6 months. Now, we want to get to B2 to have the kind of relaxed fluency, right? And B2 is another 180 hours. It's half the time it took you from A1 to B1. But A1 to B1 are 3 levels, while B1 is only 1. So you see there is a kind of misrelation here. And that's because B2 requires a lot of abstract work. It's a lot of vocabulary, and vocabulary just takes time, yeah, and lots of practice. So that's why B2 is, for many people, quite a shock when they enter that. Travel time, still 60 hours, homework. So you need a total of roughly 1,000 hours to get to B2 if you are a standard learner. And trust me, not too many people are. Yeah, and you have no way to find out whether you are, other than, of course, monitoring your process. That's quite a lot of time, and that number, keep that in mind, roughly 1,000 hours. Nothing wrong with it, because you might as well enjoy it, right? Except the travel time, not sure how you can enjoy that. And the cost of that, the cheapest courses here are roughly $1,000, not per month, just the total time from A1 to B1. That's Volkshochschule, it's a community college. 7K is one of the most famous German teaching institutions. Yeah, don't need to name them, but that's what you pay for 6 months at their premises. It's ridiculous, if you ask me. And the quality strongly depends on the teacher. So there is no guarantee that you have a good teacher or a good classroom, yeah, just because you pay 7K. And B2, another 500 bucks to 3,500. So you pay between 1.5 and 10.5 thousand US dollars to get to fluency level B2. That's good money. Yeah. And it's worth it. I have absolutely no problem with paying that much money for something that I can use for the rest of my life. But I, for sure, would have certain demands on such a program. Now, let's take a look at the Smarter German approach. Yeah. I've been teaching, by the way, in such schools and with these approaches that I pointed out in the beginning for 13 years before I created Smarter German. Smarter German, yeah, let's assume 360 hours like with the other courses. Travel, you don't need, because you can work on your mobile if you must. And homework we can also just put aside. You learn online, and Smarter German is very efficient in its structure and design. So we save a lot of time there. Same, it's half of A1 to B1. No travel, no homework. 540 compared to 1,000. And you already see where this is heading, right? Now, what does it cost? Standard price at the moment, and we are rather raising it than lowering it, is $429 without VAT. Yeah, if you're in Germany or Europe, you have to pay 19 to 20 something % VAT, which the governments use to do good things, as we all know. If you are a faithful learner with Smarter German, you get 25% discount on any higher course, language course, yeah, which is B2 and C1. So there's the $322 are with a 25% discount applied, which only is available if you have already purchased another course. Together 751. And you remember the other number? That was 1.5 to 10.5 thousand US dollars. But I'll get back to that in a minute. In addition to that, you save 300 hours for travel and homework on your path to B1, and another 150 hours on your path to B2. That's 450 hours of lifetime. I'm not sure what you would do with that, but I would definitely cherish having that much time at hand, additionally, not wasting it. So compared, Smarter German, 429. This is what the competition is charging. B2 here. Now you're here via Teachable, via the Discover platform, and we have a special offer for you for the next 2 weeks from today on. You will get an additional 10% discount on the A1 to B1 course. Yeah, so you save, you calculate that's something like $43 without VAT. And but let's add this together. The B2, you get the 25% discount if you purchase the first one. So you pay $708 instead of $1,500. And if you compare it to the most famous language school out there, you save up to 90%. Yeah, let that sum sink in. And that's not the end of it. There's even better news. Don't worry. There's no risk with Smarter German. First of all, you can test the free lesson. I give you QR code in a minute where you can check the free lesson. But if you want the discount, you have to go back to Teachable's Discover page. Yeah, but you can test the first lesson, and that gives you already an absolute deep insight into how any of my courses work. So there's no risk. If you like the first lesson, you will like the rest. And after purchasing it, so purchase it after the first free lesson if you must, but you have 2 weeks. You have 30 days satisfaction guarantee. If within those 30 days you feel I've made a mistake or my life changed, I want to learn French instead. Trust me, there's people who say that. Then you write me a quick email. Hey, Michael, I changed my mind. Can I have my money back? I click a button and you get your money back. Depending on how you paid and where you live, that is a matter of a few days at best. Yeah. But usually it might even be very instant. No risk. And ask any institution, any language school, whether you can have a trial lesson. Nowadays, it might be doable. If they don't offer that, book the shortest period of lessons with them to see whether they're any good. Yeah, very important. You test what you buy. It's a lot of money, even though we are a lot cheaper than anything else. I don't want your money if you don't like what you get. So if you take a picture of this thing, you get to the free lesson of the Everyday German course, which is my A1 to B1 course. And can take a thorough look and test it and see whether you actually like the approach. You can also already ask me questions there if anything is unclear. And I'm always thankful for any question you might have. Now, we're at the end of the presentation. I'm not sure how well I did. You can't see the time, but I'm here for questions now.
You are perfect on time. And folks, as Michael just said, we have some time for questions now. If there's any questions on anything Michael's covered, if you have any questions for Michael in general, this would be the time to put them in the chat. I know you actually breezed through that. That was like 37 minutes. So you know yourself, and that was quick. While we wait for folks to put some questions in, if there is any, I did want to say that link Michael discussed, I just put it in the YouTube comments. It's also in the YouTube description. And if you're watching this as a replay, let's say you're watching this later, we're also going to send out that link to anyone who registered for the workshop. So you shouldn't have to dig for it. I mean, while we give folks a few minutes here to have any questions, that free lesson, I know you gave a QR code. Is that something we could also make available as a link so we can send that out?
Absolutely, well? I can do that. I'm trying to turn off my mobile because it makes noises. The presentation is still on there. Okay. Yes, absolutely. I'll send that to you after this meeting.
Cool. Yeah. I appreciate that. Well, so again, we're going to stay live for a few minutes here because I haven't seen necessarily any questions came through. So questions that I've had, having watched some of these before, is going from A1, B1 to the more advanced lessons. Like, what does that look like in terms of also like the community side for folks in your school? Like if I've taken Everyday Smarter German and I'm ready to move to B2, is there a community that of folks who've also taken that course with me to kind of support me as I move along that journey? Just because having taken some language things myself, obviously accountability is important. And like you've covered today, it's like having other folks to look to that are doing this alongside me. That sometimes is very inspiring.
Yeah. So the community is something I've been exploring over the last years. And I've seen many communities where there were people very eager, very enthusiastic in sharing these things. Come, let's learn together. Let's have a learning group and speaking group. And trust me, none of them worked long term. It was a bushfire, we say. I don't know how you call it. Yeah, like whoosh, beautiful. Because everybody initially it's the honeymoon. Everybody loves the honeymoon.
Just so excited. Yeah, exactly. You have like the excitement and enthusiasm.
Yeah, but learning German is like marrying. Yeah, so it's hard work. Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's a lot of rewards for it. So Smarter German, yes, to make the answer short, yes, there is people there, but don't imagine it a group of people that hangs out all the time that you can just join. Hey, I'm Michael here. How are you doing today? It's not yet there. There is a possibility to look for people that work with you. By all means, don't listen to me. It's just my experience I share, and I don't lie about it. But there is people that found themselves by the community and they just meet offline somewhere else. The community is also expanding. We're using a beautiful platform for that allows direct messaging and everything. So just play around there and see. And I'm there also to support you in whatever you might need. The ultimate goal of Smarter German is to get you from this beautiful system I've created and structure out into the real world. Yeah, as soon as possible. That's my ultimate goal. No, for me, that's teaching. Teaching means make you independent quickly. And the community is something that is really there for emotional support. I'm there for your emotional support. Of course, also for your technical support and learning support. But it's very important to just have someone there that you can reach out to. And it's beautiful to see. So just join us there. We are all there, and sometimes B2 can help A1 to B1. So it doesn't have to be a dedicated B2 group that you find some company in.
Got it. No, that was helpful. I appreciate it. And so I think a question that not related, but following up from that, I want to bring it on screen for you is, should a student this from Adam, should a student who's already at the A2 B1 level sign up for the A1 B1 course or the B2 course?
Yeah, it's always a question. And at this point, I only have the A1 to B1 in one piece. And it's the history of its evolution. But by the end of this year, I will actually separate it into 3. And not the same, it will create 2 new courses. But for now, you have no choice. Yet, my suggestion is try the free lesson and then the 30 days money back guarantee, right? And see whether it actually is good for you. Because many people who are already near the end of A2 have sufficient gaps. They don't know any strategies how to actually organize their learning once they are not taking a course. And they could really benefit from working through my course. You should not get bored with it because we work with a criminal story that keeps you interested and going. The way I teach is unique and quite compelling, actually. I would love to learn this way. That's why I created it. Yeah, I created it from the learner's point of view, plus, of course, a scientific point of view. So give it a try. And the same with the B2 course. Try the A1 to B1 free lesson and the B2 free lesson and see. It's worth the time. You will learn something. It's not, you benefit from it whether you continue with it or not. First lesson of my A1 to B1 course is so beautiful. Don't miss out on that.
Thank you for that, Michael. Well, speaking of organizing your learning, a question I wanted to bring was, do you work with workbooks? So do you create your own materials, hand out for students? Can you speak a bit to this question?
Yeah. No, we don't work with workbooks. It's different. And see, you've been trained to think like this because this is what you've seen in elementary school, in higher schools, and language schools. They have workbooks and stuff. My course contains everything you need. There is a couple of tools you need outside of my course, but they are freely available. They don't cost any money, and I guide you through them because they've done a good job. And until I can copy that, years pass by. So it's everything in there. You don't have to purchase anything extra. And it's not like a workbook feeling. It's a text, and then you have audio for the text, then you have a task, and then you have a grammar lesson, and then you have a speaking practice lesson. Then you have a little joke. Maybe Germans are famous for their jokes. So just take a look at the first lesson. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Michael. And this next question, it's going to be just 2 parts because it got broken into 2 YouTube comments. So for this one, obviously, hello. They've been learning German with DW for free. At the start, they were very motivated. They learned every day and reached A1. The second part of that is, but they've been procrastinating lately. It may be because of personal commitments. Any thoughts? Can you help this person?
Yeah. So for anyone who cannot afford my courses, I always say go to DW, but they're overwhelming. And the design is horrible. It's so outdated. I don't know who they put there, but they are still better than what the Goethe Institute offers. Yeah, that really makes my nails roll up. But many people are not as picky as I am. Procrastination always has a reason. It has a function. It's a protection from something. And if you understand that, you have a chance to actually look at what's happening here. Yeah, maybe your goal has changed, or maybe you had an expectation that you were not aware of and it hasn't been fulfilled, and that you just can't grasp it if you don't know where to look and how to understand that. I can help you with that. I even have a course for such things where you can look into these things, which I call the Infinite Motivation course. It's created by a dear friend of mine, and I actually don't make any money with that course. He does, and right so. But I love it because it will exactly show you what is the issue here. And if it doesn't, you have 30 days to ask for your money back. And it takes you a weekend to work through the course. So I absolutely trust this course, and you, if it doesn't benefit you, don't. And if that doesn't do anything, you can still contact me. I'm always curious about these cases. I'm happy to look into this with you and make you an offer, and then you can decide whether you want to go that path, because it's deeply rewarding and interesting to look into such things. Yeah, I told you I'm a psychology nerd, right? Don't worry, I'm not a therapist. I will not therapize you. Don't even try. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Michael. And you the psychology nerd comes through, and I appreciate it because it is part of it.
Yeah.
And I knew, so this one you've kind of covered, but I wanted to bring it up because it came in. But talking through your course again, Everyday Smarter German, or some of the more advanced courses, I know tools isn't necessarily where you lean. Can you speak a bit to this?
Yeah. So the question is, what is a tool, right? Everything is a tool. Teachable is a tool, if you ask me. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But let me tell you. So for vocabulary training, I used, among others, I used the external tool called Memrise. I created a course there that is tailored to my main course. We use a platform, or maybe Siri you can use. We use Alexa to transcribe what you say and also to communicate with you. If Alexa doesn't work, you can do it with a platform called Speech Notes, which is free. It will transcribe what you say. There's instant visual feedback, whether the computer can understand you. So no shame, no bad feelings. You can speak gibberish. Yeah. And other tools are, of course, just audio recordings, texts, videos. These are also tools. But Alexa, or the technique behind Alexa that we offer also independently from that tool is gorgeous. So these are basically tools that I have in mind. And is there anything else? There is a couple of other things. Tools are also techniques. So if I teach you how to listen and repeat in a certain way, or to write in a certain way, these are more techniques than tools. We have a dictation tool. So you play the audio, you can type in the tool will show you where you make mistakes, but intelligently. Yeah. So yes, these are a couple of tools, and you will see 90% of the tools in the first lesson of any course you look at.
And related to that, this is perhaps future tools or things that you're bringing in. I wanted to bring this one up. Is like the scoreboard or competition side. Is there any chance of this kind of making its way into Smarter German?
At this point, not. We are looking into this. So by the end of the year, we might have a possibility to do so, but it's not that easy. Yeah, that's unfortunately one of the downsides at Teachable at this point. We need to find a workaround because it's a closed system, but it has its benefits. It's like with Apple, you cannot just tweak everything easily, but therefore you have security and you have a guarantee that things work. And that actually weighs much heavier, much deeper. I don't know how you say that. It's more important than having these like leaderboards and bling bling, as I said. You don't need bling bling or a leaderboard. It's beautiful. I understand that. And I wish it was easy to do. I would add that, but it's not necessary. What you really need is a deep understanding of what's going on, and in the sense of a deep experience of how the learning process actually can be made enjoyable all by yourself. Yeah, you don't need external tools for that or external motivators. And I'll show you these things.
One thing I did want to add is we are trying to make it easier to integrate external and third-party pieces with Teachable. So perhaps one day we can make it easier for you to bring this in, because that's a very reasonable ask.
I've done that. Just Leaderboard is something that's a bit difficult to realize with the structure that you offer, right? But we've done that. All the tools we use, we put easily into Teachable. So it's still the best platform I found. No?
Well, we appreciate you being here. So glad to hear it. a question that came up, and it might not be mail ID, but it's about contacting you, right? I know folks who take the course that they can reach out to you, and that's like part of the attraction. Is there a best way of communicating with you, either prior or like what do you suggest is the best way if someone has further questions for you particularly?
Yeah, the best way to contact anyone is to look for their homepage and then just write I love Michael at smartergerman.com or whatever you want to write. Today is Sunday. So if you have a domain, you can just write anything in front of that @ sign, and then it will arrive at the webmaster, which in this case is me. Yeah. So you can contact me via smartergerman.com. We have contact form, or you write it teachable at smartergerman.com. Then I know you come from this. It's whatever you want. It's very easy to contact me. And you find me on Facebook as well, Smarter German. You just saw that a little bit, yeah? But I think in my name tag, you should see that.
Also, that link I posted earlier into the chat, you can click through to that. That's going to take you to the Smarter German. Like when you go to check out, that's the Smarter German school. So if you can use that link to navigate to where Michael's describing.
Yeah, very easy.
Cool. Well, Michael, thank you so much for the time today. If anyone has any last minute questions, you could put them in before we leave. And I want to make sure we get a chance for everyone who's been here with us, because we've had quite a few folks here on this Friday. Let's let Michael know in the chat we appreciated him. I know some folks earlier posted, Smarter German. It's the happy way of learning German. We appreciate that. But, this is a free workshop. We appreciate Michael giving time to this. So let's let him know in the chat we appreciate him. While y'all do that in the chat, Michael, any, parting thoughts, any last words of wisdom you'd love to share with this audience today?
Yeah, but I'm not sure whether that's wisdom, but just make sure you enjoy what you're doing. And there's always a way to enjoy what you do. That doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean there is no pain. But ultimately, why would you suffer through a German course? Just in order to get somewhere. You don't have to suffer to learn German. You have to work hard. That's the difference. So, if you suffer, let me know why you suffer or how you suffer, and I'm happy to look into your suffering.
That is wisdom. I would definitely call it wisdom. Well, Michael, thank you so much. We're going to hop offline. Thank you for everyone who joined us. We really appreciate you. If you're watching this on a replay, we appreciate you watching then too. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe to our channel. We hope to have Michael back. He's someone we love on this page and at Discover. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day. With that, we're signing off.
Thank you all. Thank you, Aaron, as well. Thank you, Teachable.
Our pleasure.
Have a lovely evening.